Good morning, everyone. Well, it is morning here as we're recording this. A very cold, frosty morning this morning, Jamie. What's it like where you are?
Freezing. It's beautiful.
Anyway, welcome everybody to Heads and Dovetails. If you've been listening to us regularly, you know I'm Jill Harvey Bush, and the lovely Jamie is Jamie Hubbard. We're both on social media. I tend to be on YouTube. I will be working more on my channel next year. And Jamie, of course, is the Worcestershire, that word, cabinet
Yeah.
maker on YouTube. Fascinating to watch some of his videos, which I thoroughly enjoy. And of course, we're on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I don't do any other sort of social media. But talking of Spotify and social media, we are going to talk about Spotify. And it probably applies to other platforms, but specifically, I think Spotify has come to the fore. I was published, or we were published, both my podcasts were published on Spotify. But then both you and I have kind of had a discussion, haven't we, around Spotify, Jamie, and what we think about it. I think you started by they're supporting AI weaponry. I think if I remember correctly, a few weeks ago, that's where we started, where you sent me a link.
Did I send it to you?
Yes, you sent it to
Blimey.
me.
It's amazing how much you forget, isn't it, over the weeks? The thing is, I think what we've got to look at now is there are some of the companies over the internet-based companies over the last 20 years have grown massively.
Hmm.
They've swallowed up competition. They've become monopolies in themselves. They're making all sorts of money. Just looking at, I mean, I don't do Apple, and I will never ever do Apple.
Oh, well,
And
there
I
you
think
go. I do, you see. So,
right. So the reason I won't do Apple, and I think I've said it before, is because I remember I think it was the 90s, early 2000s. I can't remember when it was. And there was a center spread in a newspaper I saw. There were 2 pages center spread saying the problem with Apple iPods things. And when the iPod, before the phones came along, the
yeah.
iPod. And the problem was Steve Jobs had said he is not repairing any. If there's a broken screen or whatever, the cost of repairing it is the same as a new one. So just give them a new one or whatever, or
Hmm.
sell them a new one. But they also, rather than the 100% markup, 10% markup was on it. That was all they were allowed. So we'd got Dixon's, Comet, Curry's, Rumbelows, all of those. We got all of those sort of wanting to and vying to sell Apple things, which they'd just sort of gone from computers to this little
Mm.
gadget thing. And they basically, Apple killed off. We lost Rumbelows, I think we lost Dixon's. Comet became Curry's and Comet together. We lost a number of the high street stores through all of the issues of of iPods, and then we go to iPhones and Apples. And because of all that, and his attitude towards the customer, he's basically his attitude towards the customer was, I don't give a monkeys about you, it's about my shareholders. And
Mm.
that's all he was bothered about. And I think that's what we're seeing now. We're
Yes.
seeing the shareholders doing incredibly well out of it, stuff the customers. We're not bothered about the customers because we're huge now. So you've got Jeff Bezos, who makes pretty much every time somebody buys something off Amazon, they just look at the delivery charge. That much is going straight into his bank account. Even if you're on premium, prime, whatever, if it's a fiver, 30 quid delivery, whatever,
Mm.
that sort of money percentage is going straight into his account. And I just don't think we should do it. I don't use Amazon. I don't use Apple. I didn't get on Spotify. And I'm sorry, I'm preaching it. If we go back,
Well, I'm going to
it,
have to say I do use Apple.
yeah,
You know,
um,
I've got Macs,
yeah, you do.
I've got an
Yeah,
iPhone because they're more reliable, they're better quality. You know, I didn't come across from Microsoft for years. I resisted where everybody else in my family was on Macs. And actually, I've got to agree, when I've come over to a Mac, never have the problem with bugs, never have the problem with hiccups. Nothing like that. So the quality is really good. But isn't it interesting? Just see, you're ready to interrupt. Isn't it interesting that we remember something from so long ago, which is
Yeah,
still impacting you 30,
100%.
35 years later?
Yes,
However, the problem is we get latched onto that, or the problem can be, and then we don't see that actually all the other companies we're using are now hiding behind it. You hear all this about good customer service, and they're absolutely rubbish. The thing with Amazon, yes, I do use Amazon because, again, what I think they've done, which you kind of go, oh, okay, is excellent customer service.
yeah,
And what I mean by that is literally, I've got to be careful. I don't think my son listens. I accidentally ordered two of the, I was doing a lot of Christmas presents, etc. And I do, when I'm on Amazon, because I am a trustee of a charity cultivating change, we do have the easy donation. And that's what I
right.
do is when I buy anything off Amazon, they make a donation. If I click to it and you join, they make the donation to easy donation, whatever. So actually, over a period of time, several websites, you can do it. Lots of companies do it. If anybody is into charities and doesn't mind having the cookies on their computer, they will make a donation. And I think over 3 or 4 years, I've just by what I'm buying, have also ultimately donated just over £50 to the charity. And as a small charity, that easy
Yeah,
donation button
yeah.
is making a huge difference. But going back, I'd accidentally ordered two of the same CD. Arrived yesterday. Normally, there can be a nightmare. Things have got a bit better. I've got a return label. Click here if you want to return it. Print this label off. Take it to the post office. Postage covered, it goes. So, to be fair, I think one side you're paying for, yes, they've got it right. You order, it comes within a couple of days. You want to return, it's not an issue, it's not a problem. So, how much are we paying then on the customer service? But in my own butt, so this is my own dilemma in my head, Jamie. You
Good.
know, you know that I love the book now less. I'm preaching about it everywhere. No, I'm not being paid by Patrick Grant. No, it's not an ad. No, it's not a gift. Clive is in the middle of reading it at the moment. And it goes back to when you read that book, it explains really that yes, everything we buy, we complain about the wealthy getting wealthier, but because we're buying the products and we're buying them cheaply and from wherever else, actually we are making the wealthy wealthier.
That's
Be
right.
by
That's
rather than
yes,
buying local, we are
yes,
making them every time we're buying it, we're making the wealthy wealthier. So every cheap item, and it goes into Timu. I'm going to drive people mad with the amount of times I've mentioned this book. People like Timu and Shine, all our money is going abroad. Nothing is staying here. It's not
yes.
manufactured here. We're
No,
making somebody else a billionaire. And those companies make it really difficult to return anything.
right. I'm going to chip in, right?
Do.
Because I hate Amazon. Right, there you go. I've said
Yep.
it. I looked at something the other day. They are basically all they're trying to do is make things simple for us.
Mm-hmm.
People pay Prime so that they haven't got to worry about that. But you are paying for it. You are
Mm-hmm.
paying for so it isn't free. I was looking on the line online the other day for something. I was on Google. So I searched a thing and it came up. This thing came up on um Amazon was the first one that came to
Mm-hmm.
the top. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go on Amazon and have a look. So I went on Amazon because I have got an Amazon account, but I don't buy from there. I
Mm-hmm.
might chuck something at the girls because they pay for the Prime, but whatever. So I looked at this thing and I was thinking about it. I was thinking £52. Oh, that's just too much. That's just too much, right? So I thought, hang on, who's selling this? So I looked at the seller, Tyzac Tools, 150-year-old company, Tottenham Court Road in London, still going now.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So I searched, Tyzac Tools, hang on, I bet they sell on eBay. I go over to eBay and I look for the product and I go Tyzac in the name, and they came to the top, and the same product, £42, £10 cheaper, right? So then I'm going like, hang on, if it's £10 cheaper on here, what's it like on their website? I go to tyzac.com, I look at their thing, £36,
Mm,
£3 postage. It's now £39.
mm,
That product on, and this is the problem. This is what people are forgetting. They're thinking of the simplicity of it all, but actually, it's the same company you're dealing with, whether it's Amazon, eBay, or the through their website.
mm,
But I've just gone from £52 to £39 delivered.
mm.
Now I think that's a considerable saving. That's a good saving.
Absolutely.
Also, so the inside of it is. So then I was just like, hang on, this is deeper than I thought. Why are they selling this product at the price that is a third? How can they afford to sell this? It's a third of the competition. So I then I go .gov.uk HMRC to see who's now owning this company. It's gone from a right. It's gone from a Tyzac. It's gone from a Jewish-owned company back 150 years ago. It's now owned by somebody Patel. I'm going to just generalize and say that's probably not a Jewish person now. That's probably an Indian, right? Fine. And it's made in Italy. It's made in India. And I was like, okay. So we've gone from Tyzac Tools 150 years ago having making products in the UK. We've now got the company that's probably owned by an Indian family. Great. But they're having the product made in India.
Outsourcing.
Great, that's fine. Because they're not charging 150 quid for the product that the competition is. And I think and I'm going to do a few videos on this because this is going to blow the competition. It's going to blow their mind. I'm hoping that the product, I've got it at the workshop. I've not opened it yet because I'm waiting for it to do a video on it. But just by the packaging, just by the box, just by the fact it's shrink wrapped and in the box is embossed, I'm thinking they've put so much attention to detail in, and I haven't opened it yet. I'm
Mm.
thinking this is going to be a good product. It's got to be a good product because you shouldn't
Well, are
put
they
all.
kidding you?
I don't know, but I've got to open it and see. But
Yeah.
it's still, it's still a 30%, sorry, 60%, 66% cheaper than the competition. I'm almost like, I don't mind,
Well,
but I will
again,
see.
I'm going to go back to Patrick Grant Less here, which is why I found it fascinating because it's the sociology, it's the history, it's all of that that comes into it. Because if you look at that, a product that was being made in the UK has now been outsourced
Yeah,
to India. But anybody like you says, well, this is an old, this is established in 19 whenever, it's over 100 years old. So, in some ways, unless you want to deep dive like you have, which a lot of people wouldn't go all the way through to Companies House to find out who's owning the company, we are fooled into thinking this is British and it's an old company that was established here. But of course, all the money, all the jobs that were involved here are now in India. So that would
but
bring you
yeah,
right the way around to this is why we're not paying a lot of taxes, why income tax, and you can just go full
but that's the
circle.
way of the world now,
I
isn't it?
know,
It is.
I
I've
know.
just been told. I mean, just down the road from my workshop, there's an old. It's not steel. I think yeah, it was an old engineering shop. They've put 500 homes behind it,
Hmm.
and now they've just announced, and and these homes are they're weird. You
Mm.
drive down the road, and they're all exactly the same.
Hmm.
Every house is exactly the same, and they're little tiny detached houses. I mean, they're tiny.
Mm.
If you put the car up the driveway, up the side of the house, they've got no front. You can probably get a car on the front sideways, sort of
Like
with
an
the
old,
door
like
posh.
people have done with the old Victorian terraces, taking
Yes,
away the front garden, and if you
but
can,
but
parallel
but they've
park.
called them but they've called them detached, Jill.
Well,
So they're thin and
yeah.
they go back a little bit, but the garage is down the side of the house to a garage in the garden, which is taking up garden space. And but you could, I bet you can't open both doors properly. I bet you can only open one door properly. It's so tight. And when you drive down there, it's like that typical American scene where you see down a road in
Yeah.
suburbia in America and everything is identical on the
Yeah.
side of the road. Every house, but they're actually getting rid of the steelwork buildings now, which really should have been not
Mm.
modernized but gentrified. They should have been
Hmm.
they should have been made into luxury sort of spaces and whatever, kept the buildings, but no, it's all coming down and they're putting old people's homes on there.
Mm. Oh, well,
So we've
somewhere
lost
for us to live.
manufacturing so
Yes,
much.
absolutely.
That's it. The UK's had
That's
it.
exactly what this book is about, really.
Yeah,
And it explains how, and therefore the jobs that we're losing, and we're going to lose a load more with AI coming in, a load more jobs will go. And we don't have anything to replace it, which is why buy local if you can, buy from small
yeah,
companies. And that brings us right the way back to close this nested loop to Spotify, and why you and I then had a discussion. I do have my other podcast on there as well. You know, my husband, as you know, Clive, is a musician. And
yeah.
I was then listening to a whole load of the musicians saying, this is ridiculous, we're earning nothing. And there's quite a few people now, AI is kicking in as well. And with the new rules and regulations, which I'm not sure if I sent it to you, but I put on my stories this week, that basically anything you put on there, they have complete ownership of. So they can take anything from
I know.
anything
Yes,
you put on there. They
they
can
can modify
create
it.
something else, they can modify it, and they can call it their own. And it was that point when I realized, that video plus another video of where the owner, Mr. Eck, I think his name is,
Derek Eck, yes,
was being quizzed by the American whatever board. And she said, but basically your model says it'll take 75 years. So I then looked into, okay, how much? Because I know Clive has said, oh, it's like 0.00 something. And
yeah,
it's point anywhere between, depending on the length of the track, etc. But for every download, a creator earns 0.003 to 0.005 of a dollar, less than 2p. So for us, I mean, well less, because it would be, it's not
well,
in
that's it. It needs. You need
sterling,
to.
it's sorry, in sterling, it's 0.002. So
Yes,
you're looking at 100
to get 1p.
to get 20p or whatever.
Yes,
And you're
yes,
just kind
2p.
of
Yes,
going, this is crazy. Where somebody else, then a creator, obviously, because the algorithm then sends stuff to you, doesn't it, when it realizes you're looking
yeah,
at something. And that's when a creator said, thank you so much to the one person who has bought my CD from
yeah,
me, because I have earned more from that one person than I have all year
yeah,
on Spotify and the downloads. And funny enough, talking about it, so that's you and I discussed, didn't we? And I thought, you know
yeah.
what, I'm done. And as much as we go, yes, but everybody's on Spotify, and if you're not on that platform, etc., etc. But if we don't start
I know,
cancelling and
I know.
coming out, I mean, big people, and then you go, yeah, but all the big guys are on it. Yeah, those are the guys who are already wealthy, like
Yeah,
Diary of a CEO, just off the top
yeah,
of my head, Mel Robbins, off the top of my head.
yeah.
They're already huge. Yes, they are the ones earning the big money. Will they come off Spotify? Maybe, if they have a conscience and kind of go, we're going to
Ye-
withdraw, because that is the only way.
yes,
I've discussed this with big corporates. Money talks,
yeah.
and the
But
power is where we buy,
but
basically.
do you remember though? I mean, the reason I have not got a Spotify account, the reason I've not done it, is because I've never heard them. I mean, all you hear about these big companies, the little bits in the news, they don't add up to big things. They never make massive, significant changes in direction to do the right thing. And
Yeah.
when Spotify first came along, all I heard about Spotify, I don't know how many years ago, was it's an illegal music listening service.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hang on, this was the time probably when I'm probably going back 20 years. Ellie's 28 now, so probably 20 years where they said they were saying, oh, all these things, they're going to come back and get the money off you at some point. You're
Hmm.
going to. So I was just like, I don't want to go on Spotify. I don't want somebody turning up on the doorstep or a bill coming through the letterbox saying you owe us for 48 quid for listening to Spotify between this date and that day. I didn't want it. No. Now what they do is they do a sort of service charge or
Correct.
whatever that you pay for
Yeah.
like a monthly subscription. We've all cottoned onto this muddly thing, and it's just like, what are you doing with your money, people? Stop spending your bloody
Well,
money on subscriptions to
you'll be surprised how many people don't realize how many subscriptions they actually have that they probably don't use. So, one of the things that I'll go through if I have a client that I'm coaching, and they're short of money and we're trying to save money and I'm in debt is, and I've done this, with somebody quite corporately going, who's
Yeah.
looking about, well, I'm running yes, I'm running a business. And the amount of business people say, yes, yes, I'm running a small business. But actually the business isn't making money because when they then add up all the subscriptions they're paying out for that
Yeah.
business, I'm paying for the website, I'm paying for this, and I'm paying for that, and I'm paying for, oh, hang on a minute. I'm actually not making anything. And that's where I go with other people and say, okay, over the next 3 months, or if you can over a year, because some of them are very clever, they're a yearly subscription, so you people forget about them, and they're an
Oh, blimey.
automatic direct debit, and they just go out. And the amount of people that do the just go back through a
Mm.
year's worth, if you can, of bank statements and pick out all your subscriptions. Well, one client realized she had nearly £500 worth of subscriptions going out that she had no idea about, stuff that she had subscribed to years ago. But
Yes.
every year it had been an automatic coming out. And every year, isn't it funny? People go, I must remember next year to cancel that because they tell you, they take it out and say, but if you want to cancel, you've got to give us 3 months' notice or whatever. I got caught, and it was with Apple Care. And after a while, I go, no, okay, I'm set up, I'm fine, I don't need Apple Care. But of course, I'd forgotten to cancel. And it wasn't until it came out of my account year before last, I kind of went, oh God, that's £110 and I don't want it, or whatever it was, £99 or whatever, because there
Yeah.
are all these warranties you pay for that people don't realise. And that's when you say, over £500 on subscriptions or payments, that's how it happens. We don't realise. And somebody was saying, I'm paying for a subscription for something, years ago. I think
Yeah.
it was even like their belling, I don't know, their oven, for
Oh,
example,
oh, here we go.
a
Yes. Yeah.
warranty. The oven has gone, but they're still
Yeah.
paying
No.
for the subscription. So just a
Wow.
heads up, it's always worth just having a look. But I made a note. So when my Apple Care went out 2024, I made a note that 2025 in my good old fashioned diary,
Yeah.
cancel Apple Care. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what I did. 4 months before the end, I went into Apple Care and I cancelled. So it didn't come out. But people are shocked, Jamie, when they go through their bank statements, because a lot of people now don't have old-fashioned bank statements coming through. They'll know we're going paperless, so it's online, so people then don't scroll down it to double check it. I'm very tight like that, I do. And then
Cameron.
they kind of go, good grief. Or it's on a Visa card or a credit card, and again they go, oh my goodness.
The thing
So,
is, you would be surprised how, I mean, for me now, I went through my personal bank details, bank account statement for the last month, yesterday, day before, yesterday, I think.
mm-hmm,
And I was looking at it and I was thinking, right, how am I doing now? What's everything looking like? And I
mm-hmm,
went down it and there's £12 car insurance for this and £20 for that, got to be done. And this bill's got to be done. So some of these, I mean, my biggest one really now that I need to sort out is my water rates. Um, we've got to go on a meter. That's it. It's gone silly. But yes, I think we've just got to be more aware of what's going on. And I think the past and ask yourself, who's making all the bloody money off us? Who's taking the
absolutely.
money from and what are they giving in return? Because I'm
Absolutely.
sorry, Jill, I know you like Amazon, whatever, but you could take the long route. You could go, well, if I bought from this and I bought from that and I did that, and then the money I've saved I could give to the charity. If you looked at another way,
Hmm.
you might be able to gift more to the charity. It's all of these they've based it on simplicity.
Of
If
course,
it's
it's
just
simple. It's
press a
good
button,
customer service. It's really
yeah,
fast. It appears within a couple of days. It's easy to return. We live in a village. We have one car. So if somebody like, I mean, a lot of people are okay. You can do collection with Royal Mail now for some companies, but if
mm,
not for me, that means I've got to get in the car. I've got to go find whatever drop, or some of them, you can go and drop places. I don't understand all this. Drop it off at a box and all the rest of it. Otherwise, I've got to go find where I've got to go, and that's a car trip. and it's
Well,
just,
they don't all do the Dropbox thing. You can choose whether it
yes,
comes to the house or yeah.
yes,
Uh,
but no, I mean, if I'm returning it.
oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Well,
All right.
you
So
might have to.
there's
Yeah,
it. You gotta go,
they've
and that
sort
means
of
I have to go into the town. That's a car job. Then I've got to park. Then I've got to pay because you can't park on the road now without paying a parking fee. And then. So yes, it's always about ease, isn't it? So I do have a dilemma because I'm all about sustainability. I'm all about trying not to pay for big companies. But then when I have looked at others, try to go smaller, of course they're much more expensive. So then you're in this dilemma of, okay, I'm saving a lot more money over here, like at Christmas, than I would be if I was buying individually. I'd end up paying, I don't know, 50 quid more over a range of presents than I would here. So it is a dilemma that I have, Jamie. It's like I love animals, I should be vegetarian, but I can't give up meat. So
good,
I'm going to be
good,
honest. All right. I'm
good.
going to be honest.
In a way, I'd like to be, but you know what? I don't really want to be vegetarian. I get it, but you know
Yeah,
what? How many thousands of years of humans been eating animals as well as the green stuff?
exactly. Exactly.
Our bodies have got so used to it. My worry is now, here you go. We've got a minute or two left. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. If I believe this is my theory now, and I was thinking about it this morning when I was doing my breakfast, and I was thinking, right, if you, I'm going to say this, and oh, the hate will come through. I believe if you're a real vegetarian, you should be cooking everything from scratch.
Okay.
Not everything. Let's say a lot of it. The reason I'm saying that is because if you're a real vegetarian, vegan, whatever, if you're a real one, you're caring about not just the animals, you're caring about what you're putting in your body. And if you care about what you're putting in your body that much, you would buy the ingredients and cook it yourself.
Well,
The
then you go to
problem
the
for me
extreme.
is the problem for me is you can buy these vegan meals and whatever, but what is there anything genuinely real in there, or is it just chemicals?
Well, if you go full circle, then actually you should be growing your own.
Hundred
Dig
percent,
up, dig up
hundred
whatever bit of
percent.
garden you've got. Dig up the decking.
Next
We're
few
on
years,
one
it's going
now,
to happen.
Jamie. We're
It's
on.
going to happen.
Yes, because it's one of the reasons we bought a larger property, and we might have to sell, dare I say, with the budget coming up. One of the reasons we bought the slightly larger property is future proofing. We moved into a bungalow. We've got a spare room that is en suite. So if we needed a carer, we were thinking in advance, you can have a living carer. I've got the big garden and I do a lot of growing my own vegetables
Yeah,
and fruit,
yeah.
etc. So we did that as well to kind of ensure that they're good, they're healthy, we can save money. But actually, we might be forced with whatever's happening next week without getting into politics. Actually, it'll be the day that this podcast comes out. So, whatever's happening today on the Wednesday, whatever the
Mm.
government is doing, might actually force us to up sticks and sell. Anyway, that's a whole other subject. So, we never even got on to my tyres, Jamie, this
What was it with
morning.
your tires? Oh
It
yeah, all
was
your
the,
tires.
it was the, we've got a minute and a half or something like that, trying to fill up my tyres, sort out because the little tyre pressure thing had come up in the car that Clive had noticed, the warning signal. And as we were saying, in the good old days, I didn't have a warning signal that had told me that my PSI in one tyre had gone down by £2 or whatever. Um, I used to look at my tyres and if they looked a bit flat, I'd go to the garage and they'd get filled up. Now you get obsessed with all the warning signs. So I was very quickly was trying to do that at Sainsbury's today. There was two people in front of me. Half an hour later, the tyres are now in a worse state when I drove off than what I started with because the machine
Oh,
wasn't working properly.
oh,
And the machine wasn't beeping. The woman said, well, it was only serviced yesterday. So we got her out from the shop where you pay, and it's busy Sainsbury's even at sort of 6 o'clock this morning or 6:30. Um, and we were all struggling because you couldn't hear it beep. So when you're on the far side of the car, bearing in mind we have those tinted windows at the back, they're just standard, but tinted windows at the back of our car. So when I'm on the right rear, I can't see.
no.
I can't see what it is, and you can't hear the beep, beep, beep because it's not working. So, how do I know what tire pressure I am?
I
She stood there and said, oh, you're on 32 now. Great. I drove off. Now, my front two tires weren't too bad when I pulled in. Well, I now have At the front, I now have a 33, a 35. The rear, I have a 31 and a 28. And yet the machine was saying 32. But when it doesn't work, poor guy was having to put 50p in because she said, oh, well, it's so cold this morning. They're not filling up quickly. So
Oh,
he said, but I've run out of, the 50p that normally would do all four tyres. And then he couldn't get that to work. And then it wasn't working. And he said, well, can I have a refund? And she said, well, we don't do the refunds. You have to go to the company that
to the company
provides.
that the machine.
And it's for
Honestly,
50p. We're just talking about money. So there you go.
can
Very
I just
quickly.
one thing I
Yes,
want to
we're
say?
slightly
You
over,
know,
but go.
people are fine with it. They want to
Yes.
listen to us
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, absolutely.
So I went to a petrol station. You know, the last storm we had with Claudia that bought all the
Yes.
things.
Came
I went
through.
to a petrol station in the middle of all that storm, and you know the sort of perspexy screen over all the dials. Well,
Yes.
my car's quite a long car, so I couldn't go too far forward. And I got the hose in the back of the car, and I was putting the petrol in. I couldn't see the screen. All I could see was 2.3, and I was just like, "How much have I?" I think and I was pressing it really. I was being cautious with it. 23 quid I spent. I couldn't see that blooming screen. It was at the wrong angle, but
Yeah.
because of the rain on it and because of the
Yeah.
condensation inside, I couldn't read the blooming numbers. And it's not an LED one. This is an old sort of
Oh, yes.
almost a
It
clicky
clicks
around.
round. Yeah.
Oh, it was almost that bad. So yes, I know what you mean.
But it
But
was
but my
fascinating.
solution to this, my solution to your problem, and I've had one since I first went to a petrol station and they wanted to charge me. This is how old I am. They
Yeah.
wanted to charge me 50 pence for air. I
Yeah.
just thought this is ridiculous. I went to Halfords, I bought a little pump thing to plug into the cigarette lighter, and I put my own tires up and I check my wife's tires and I do all that. And I'm going to I know we're going over, Jill, but I'm going to say this. This is the reason for it. You buy a brand new car now from Dacia, from Kia,
Mm.
whatever, you will not have a spare wheel.
No,
They will
no, I haven't
put
had one for
they will
years.
put a little expanding foam thing in there, right?
Yeah.
Which means if you put that expanding foam in, you ruin the tire. You've got to now buy a new tire.
Yeah.
My son-in-law had a new car, 3 weeks old, had a puncture on a morning. I went over and he said, I've got this gas thing I've got to put in. I said, don't do that, don't do that. Let me pump it up first and see what's going wrong with it. I pumped his tyre up. It held for a minute. I said, right, I'll go behind you. You drive to the garage, 1.2 miles away, get to the garage and we'll get it checked. Instead of if he'd have used that can, it would have been £140 for a new tyre.
Yeah.
Because we blew it up, it was a £20 repair.
Yeah.
Old school versus new school.
I know, but you're getting to the
That's
point
it.
that sometimes, oh no, we can't repair it. I mean, Clive's just about to take his bike to get a puncture repaired. He's only just had the bike kind of serviced last week while I was on my willow weaving course. And he comes home, he went to use it, he's now got a puncture. So of course he's going to take the bike back now because it's an electric bike, so he can't take the back wheel. Anyway, a whole other saga. So there we go, Jamie. That's the reason we come round to summarize. We will no longer be on Spotify. You will find us on Apple. You will find us on YouTube. And I will probably put the link, Jamie, to my YouTube channel for people to listen,
Yes,
when I
yes,
do it.
we'll start pushing that now.
We'll start linking it that way. And then that way. Are you
And you
being
see
rude?
these two
Jamie's
here,
holding up two fingers and it's most rude, Jamie.
not to you. This is to Derek Bluminek and his flipping AI military arms things he's trying to do.
Yeah. And
Bloody
Clive's
idiot.
also now trying to get off Spotify. And I know a lot of his mates as well, I think will be coming off Spotify. That's the way you do, isn't it? You walk and
Yeah.
it hits people, but we're not one of the big ones who would have a big impact on them. Anyway, Jamie, we're done. We've run over a few minutes. Thank you for listening to us, everybody. I'm
Thanks,
sure you
Alex.
don't mind. Yes. Oh, there's several, isn't there? Alex and Elsa and Sue and quite a few people. Thank you very much for listening to us. We also love you to join in the conversation. So I know a lot of you now follow us on Instagram. If there's any questions or anything you want to double check with us, I think the ironing of the sheet started a conversation on social media.
Okay.
Please get in contact with us, and
Yeah.
we're open to those discussions. So there we go. Nothing that we were going to talk about, but we have talked about it. It's
Next
current.
time.
It's what's going on in our lives, Jamie. You have a good couple of weeks, and I'll speak to you again soon.
And you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.